Exactly. You're exactly right. Yeah. I mean, when I made that tragic mishire, I mean, I've made mishires, I've made more than one mishire in my life. But each time I get better, I get better, I get better from it. And now 25 years later, I've got it locked in. I really have a solid process and system for that. But I mean, that mishire that I made, I woke up one Monday morning wanting to call in fake sick to my own company because I didn't want to face another week with the guy that I mishired, that I made a mistake on. But by owning that mistake and then resolving myself to do better and not to do the same thing again, what was really so important. And that's when I decided I wasn't going to wing it when it came to hiring.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today we're joined by Danielle Mulvey, a remarkable entrepreneur who has mastered the art of building five-star teams while only spending a few hours a week overseeing a thriving business. With her unique insight into hiring and leadership, Danielle inspires us to rethink how we approach our work and relationship. Let's dive into our journey and discover the wisdom that has guided her along the way. Tell us your name and what you do.
My name is Danielle Mulvey, and I am an entrepreneur. I have several businesses that do over $50 million a year in annual revenue. And I am the creator of the five-star employee hiring system so that businesses can efficiently, effectively, and objectively make great new hires to build their dream teams.
What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is from Albert Einstein, and it's doing the same thing over and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And that is my inspiration and really struck me when I had founded my first company because I had made a really bad mishire. And I knew right there and then that I needed to change what I was doing because I was winging it, to be honest, when it came to hiring. I just was, kind of going off of how I had been hired in previous jobs when I was in high school and college. And here now I'm a business owner in my 20s and just was lucky with the first few hires, and then I made a really bad mishire. And so that's when I realized that I had to change what I was doing and make a big difference.
So doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result, that is insanity.
Exactly.
I mean, you earlier on you just shared an instance of you hiring and it worked the first time, but then subsequently it did not work, and so you had to like reframe and change something else. You were bound to get the same result again and again.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, if you put it that way, it seems simple, right? It seems straightforward. How do we? Why is it that even though it's simple and straightforward, not everybody does it?
Well, I think that we're so busy, and a lot of people think, well, I'll bring someone in and then I'll give them a 90-day probationary period and we'll see if they work over 90 days. But the problem with that is you shouldn't have to give someone 90 days to kind of figure it out. That means that your hiring process is bad if you have to give them 90 days to figure it out, because if you really make a great hire and you really have a solid hiring process and system that helps you take all of your applicants and filter them out over what we like to say is a 5-step process, then you really get and you figure out who are the top ideal 5-star fits for the role, because you're only hiring one person. So you want to cast as wide of a net as possible, get as many applicants as possible to really find who is the best of the best of all of these applicants. And we say that 1 in 7 applicants is a potential 5-star fit for the role. So you need 21 applicants to have 3 potential 5-star fits. And so you've got to be objective about how you get down to who is that potential a 5-star fit for the role. And when you spend a little bit of time on the front end taking candidates through a specific process and system that's repeatable, that's objective, uh, then you're going to yield the best candidates, and you're going to have confidence that you actually have made the best hire. And when you make a 5-star hire, that person starts the job in week 1 at 50 miles an hour. They're at 60 miles an hour by week 2. They're at 100 miles an hour by weeks 4, 5, or 6. You're not giving someone 12 weeks and they're just kind of stumbling along, because, oh my gosh, in the United States, the cost of a mishire who doesn't make it past 90 days is $23,000, because you've paid that person probably $12,000 in salary, who've have $3,000, $3,500 in wasted time and management in trying to get that person up to speed. You've got the cost of losing credibility with your existing customers or clients who experienced this person who wasn't such a great example of your firm. Plus, you've got 30%, $2,500 in payroll taxes and benefits that you've been paying on this person. So a mishire and the cost of a mishire who doesn't stay with you for 18 months or more is at least $23,000. And oh my gosh, what your time, your time is more valuable than wasted payroll dollars. So you want to get it right the first time, and you don't want to make that mishire is really the big point that most people miss.
Yeah. Yes. What I noticed, it's easier to blame the tools than for the master to accept that he doesn't even know what he's doing. And
Exactly.
it's everywhere. You see, the um boss says, "Oh yeah, these people, they're just terrible. Like, I mean, they're not even this." And no one wants to accept the responsibility that, I mean, if I had done the hiring, well, we wouldn't have been having this conversation in the first place.
Exactly. You're exactly right. Yeah. I mean, when I made that tragic mishire, I mean, I've made mishires, I've made more than one mishire in my life. But each time I get better, I get better, I get better from it. And now 25 years later, I've got it locked in. I really have a solid process and system for that. But I mean, that mishire that I made, I woke up one Monday morning wanting to call in fake sick to my own company, because I didn't want to face another week with the guy that I mishired, that I made a mistake on. But by owning that mistake and then resolving myself to do better and not to do the same thing again, what was really so important. And that's when I decided I wasn't going to wing it when it came to hiring. I wanted to really master hiring. Anything worth doing well should be mastered, and you should find additional resources, education, proven processes, proven systems, to do the things that you're not an expert at.
Yeah. Before I ask you, because earlier on you mentioned the 5-star method. Before I ask you a question on the 5-star method, I just want you to contextualize the quotes for personal life, right? I mean, you talked about hiring and mishiring and business and all that, but personally for you, would you be kind enough to share an example where you were doing the same thing and you were getting the same result and you had to like change in order to get a different result?
So, oh my goodness, I would say, uh, with in hiring, I was so even though I had a process and I had a system, there were times when I was tempted to hire someone because I had worked with them previously, and I didn't make them go through our process. And I let them skip the process because I had worked with them previously 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago. Um, and I did that a couple of times. Um, and again, this is a while back. I did that a couple of times, and then it was like, Danielle, why are you letting these people skip the process and system? just because you know them, just because you worked with them in the past. Because the interesting thing was, even though I had worked with them in the past, I was hiring them now in my companies to do something different. So yeah, we got along. Yeah, we were aligned in same core values, but I didn't really test them on their ability to do the job that I wanted them to do. And I didn't bring them through and do a formal deep dive interview with them because I thought I knew them. So there were times again back in the day where I, kind of didn't even follow my own process and system because I knew them, and that was a mistake. And it took two of those before I was like, wait a minute, why didn't these work out? And when I looked back, it was like, okay, all my other people work out because they went through the process and they went through the system, and I let these two not go through the process and system because I knew them from the past. That was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. You mentioned the 5-star method.
Mm-hmm.
How many steps, how many frameworks in 5-star method? I know we don't have that much time to like go in depth into the whole process, but would you be kind enough to
Yeah.
walk us through the step-by-step framework quickly?
Absolutely. So the 5-star fit method is when someone applies, we have them take our all-in assessment. And automatically every candidate is sent the all-in assessment. And it assesses the candidate's abilities, motivations, personality, work fit, gives us a lot of detail, a lot of objective insight about that candidate. And if the candidate scores 70% or more against the benchmark for each role, depending upon the role they're applying for, then they move forward in our process. And if they move forward in our process, the second step in the 5-star fit method is a screening interview. So that's about 10, 15 minutes. It's really just to kind of ask some questions, very, very kind of like introductory questions, asking them about their resume, their positions on their resume, why are they leaving these positions, etc. We're looking for some red flags in the screening interview. If they pass the screening interview, then they move on to the demonstration phase, because it doesn't matter what someone says, it matters what they can do. So we need them to demonstrate their ability and their potential to do the job. So if I'm hiring a bookkeeper, I'm going to give that person an accounting test in the demonstration phase. I don't need you to tell me that you're a bookkeeper. I need you to show me that you're a bookkeeper. So you want to have skills testing that demonstrates someone's ability to do the job you're hiring them to do. That is like the biggest thing that most employers are skipping or missing in their process. The third step is a deep dive interview. And so the fourth step is a deep dive interview. And the deep dive interview is an hour and a half. And in that deep dive interview, you already have questions that you have customized for the interview and customized against the 11 universal qualities of a 5-star employee that we have identified. And you also want to have this interview with someone else in the room with you, so that you are holding yourself honest to the candidate, and you're not being lazy about it. If there's something that the candidate says that's concerning, something that doesn't add up, a red flag, etc., then the candidate doesn't move forward in your process. You've got to trust your gut. And so having that other person there kind of helps keep you honest in that. And then the final step is a test drive day. So you should have a test drive day with the candidate. This is the last step in the process. It is a paid day. It's 4, 5, 6 hours long. And it can be done if it's a remote position, it can be done remotely. And if it's an in-office position, they should come in the office for that day, and they should be able to see what a day is like in that role. And you should be able to test them to see how quickly can they start doing the things that you need them to do when they join. For example, if we're hiring someone to be a copywriter, etc., then when they do their test drive day, we always schedule a client meeting for that time when they're there. And we tell them going into the client meeting, okay, you're going to take notes. And then after the meeting, we're going to give you 20 minutes. We give them a little extra, more time than normal, but we're going to give you 20 minutes to write a recap email of the meeting that we can send to the client. And so, we want to see, are they catching on things quickly? Are they getting it? Are they able to turn around work relatively quickly? So it's really important to have that test drive day. And I've had people that have done a test drive day for different positions in my other companies. And, after the test drive day, they say, yeah, I thought I wanted to go from property management to construction, but after spending, a day doing this, I'm going to stay in property management. And I'm like, great, no problem. Because if we would have skipped that step, we would have hired the person and they would have, started the job, and a few days, a week or 2 weeks into it and them hating it, they would have quit at some point, because they're still live. If they've applied to our job, they've applied to 50 other jobs. And so someone's going to be calling them even after they've taken a job, and they're going to be like, great, I'm out of here. I don't like this. So I don't want that mishire on my record anymore. So having that test drive day is really, really important for both candidates and employers.
What's the difference between the test drive day and the demonstration?
So the demonstration is a skills test. So you're going to send them a skills test and have them demonstrate their ability in a skills test. And so a skills test is going to be, something that takes 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes. The test drive day is 4, 5, 6 hours. And so it's just at this stage in the game, you've whittled down your candidates with each step. So now we're going to spend a lot of time with them, and they're still going to be demonstrating their ability in that day. But that demonstration is just kind of like that initial filter.
Okay, so demonstration gets them to show their skills, and then test drive day gets them to see what it is like working with you.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, do you have an acronym for the frameworks?
I'm sorry.
Do you have an acronym for the frameworks?
Oh, no. I am anti acronyms because I don't believe that the world needs another acronym. So I'm always spelling it out, saying it all out loud, because I just am anti acronym. I'm sorry.
No issues. Like I was like, yeah, it is something to just so that it's easy. I mean, it's easy, but having an acronym, maybe because I like one, but yeah, thanks for sharing that. So how long would you say it took you to like actually develop this framework?
Well, so I applied this in my businesses. As I mentioned, I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years, and built those successful businesses that do over $50 million a year in annual revenue, and was only I only really need to spend 10 to 15 hours a week overseeing those businesses. And so it was other entrepreneurs that I know who would experience my team, or, customers that we work with, other vendors and such. And they started asking, like, how do you do this, etc. And so and then Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First and now All In, approached me about collaborating with him on his most recent book, All In, and sharing, my secrets and such. So, this is how I've done it. And now we have made it available and teach other people. We have a platform, we have assessments, and we've been doing this since 2021. So I just kind of, I guess, got pulled into it by other people wanting to see how I did it in my own companies.
Yeah. Thank you so much, like, for sharing this framework. I know that, of course, this is the frameworks, and there are things that you could actually go in deeper in 1 hour. I know that, but having to these series of steps where you're like, okay, um, do this and then do this and then do this, right? It's easy to have because usually people want to hire people, but they don't even know what to do, right? They're like, okay, what should I do? Should I interview them? What should I be doing? Or should I have them on probationary period? Of course, after this conversation, that we should know that that's the no-go area. But they're like, what should I do? Because There's so many stuff out
Yeah.
there online.
I would say the first thing that someone should do if they want to get serious about hiring and attracting the right person and repelling someone who I like to call a paycheck collector. We don't need paycheck collectors. We need people who want to do the work. So if you want to attract 5-star talent, then I recommend the first thing that you should do is determine what are the 3 to 5 key responsibilities for the role. The 3 to 5 key responsibilities is how the employee spends 75% of their work week. And with each of those key responsibilities, each responsibility needs to be quantified with a success metric. And when we say quantified with the success metric, we need to have a number, a dollar value, a percentage, a deadline, a date, something that says this is where the bar is set. This is what we need you to hit in doing this job. So, for example, one of my companies, we process long-term care claims, and my claims examiners that process those long-term care claims, their key responsibility is to correctly and efficiently adjudicate facility and home health claims. Their success metric is hitting 98% procedural accuracy, 98% financial accuracy, and processing an average of 42 claims per day. Very clear, very simple. Most businesses would stop at, we need you to process claims. Okay. This is why businesses are missing it by not setting the bar and quantifying what success is. Because when you quantify what success is, the employee can self-manage themselves. So you've got to have clarity. And so my employees, they're seeing what they're doing every day. And I will say that in my team of claims examiners, no one just hits 42 claims. They all are above 42 claims. I can't tell you, in 13 years of having teams of claims examiners, I mean, everyone hits the success metrics over and over again. Someone might miss one month, but they come back the next month. You could make a big error, but if you're consistently hitting it month after month after month after month, and you're not missing it month after month after month, then you've got it dialed in. And so when people know that they're going to be measured, that's going to attract the high achiever who's like, yes, someone who finally cares about how things get done. This is a company that doesn't put up with slackers. Awesome. Because a lot of the time, your best employees are going to leave you because they're tired of doing the work of the 1, 2, and 3-star employees who are slacking off and just collecting a paycheck. So when you quantify and everyone knows this is where the bar is set, I have to be at 0 inbox by 4 p.m. every day. I've got to, send out all of the correspondence by 9 a.m. I have to hit 98% financial accuracy and 98% procedural accuracy. And that's when you have a dream team because they can manage themselves. They don't need to be micromanaged.
Well, this is perfect. Oh, thank you so much. So this is before you do anything, make sure you do this. Before you even start applying any of the framework, make sure you do this. Thank you so much. Like you've given me so much value in such a short amount of time.
My pleasure.
Yeah. If people want to learn more about you and what you do, where can they do that?
They can go to theallincompany.com.
All one word.
Yep. Theallincompany.com.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much, Danielle, for sharing your favorite quotes with me.
My pleasure. Cheers to being all in.
Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.